this computer. There we go. All right. So welcome to our GSR for social media. One of the things to remember as we're moving forward as coaches is that our social media really is our fourth vital behavior. I know they say the fourth vital behavior is recognition, and that's important, but if we are not consistent with social media, then it'll be virtually impossible to continue to build a business, especially once we get through our warm market. This is how we connect with our market. Oh, let me turn this on speaker view. This is how we end up connecting with our market. This is how we end up building trust. And that's what social media is all about. So one of the biggest objections that I have heard, and I think I had it, I know Kelly had it, and I know most of my coaches, Angie Bradley's another one, Melissa Bernard, have had this objection is, I don't want to put selfies of myself all over Facebook. You know, that just seems kind of like, you know, the selfie culture, like I'm into myself. Well, I want to explain real quickly why putting selfies of ourselves all over Facebook, if it's done correctly, is not being immersed into that selfie culture, but it's actually really important to build trust. So when we meet someone in person, there are many things that come into play with when we decide whether we like someone or not, like whether we feel like there's someone that can be trusted. So if you go to the park and you meet someone, not only are you seeing their mannerisms, so their expressions, their micro expressions, which are little things that we don't necessarily see unless we study them, but things that tell us whether we can trust someone or not. So back in the Stone Age, people needed to be able to, sorry, Kelly, did you just say I am recording. I am recording. Okay, that's from earlier. Okay. People back in the Stone Age, people needed to be able to tell right away whether someone was from the clan or not, because if they weren't, it could mean life or death. So a lot of times the instinct is connected to those micro expressions. So when we are in person, we pick up on all of these clues that we don't even realize. The way our eyes move, the way our eye, whether we're looking at someone directly or not. There's so many ways to tell whether someone is telling the truth or not. When we're on Facebook and we're just posting without pictures of ourselves, people can maybe connect to what we say, but they can't connect to who we are, to us. They have to be able to see our face, which is why if we're going to talk about Shakeology, taking a picture of us holding the Shakeology, or if you make a meal, a really beautiful meal, putting that out on a plate and holding it yourself and saying, look what I made, and this is why I love this for my family. It's not to say, look at me. It's so that when people see your stuff continually on Facebook, they are starting to connect with you, the person, and make that connection to build that trust. So getting on there and showing pictures is huge. If you were to actually take the step to do video or live video, you can get that trust much quicker, because they see the micro expressions, they hear the inflection in your voice, and they can decide, oh my gosh, this girl is legit. So, or guy, you know, but really, video is really an important step to eventually take. If you're not ready for that now, I would say, first of all, start doing pictures of yourself. And secondly, do a live video on the team page, because that's a safe environment. You've got a lot of people there who have been in your shoes. I remember when I had Kelly make her first video, she was really nervous. She didn't want to do the video. And when she did do the video, I think it was 20 minutes long. I mean, really, I think it was like 11 or 12, but it was really long. And, but the thing is she did it. And taking that step, I mean, Kelly, you've seen her videos now. She's amazing at what she does, but we can't get to be great at communicating and sharing if we don't take a step. So doing a live video on the team page is a really easy way to kind of step out of your comfort zone and share. And you can share about something that you read in your personal development. You can share about an aha moment you have, because even though you might feel like, oh, I'm not like a leader, Trust me, we've all been there. I don't feel like a leader. You're not the only one who thinks that or feels that. Even though you may or may not feel that, everybody on the team, pretty much most people on the team will have been at that spot. Maybe not everybody, but we can relate to it. So go ahead and share what you're learning, because you're also going to have new coaches as well who need to hear what you're saying, who need to hear what's on your heart. And of course, it always blesses everybody. I know all the leaders who are on there, we're always blessed to hear that. So I would challenge you to get out of your comfort zone and try live video. On my to-do, yes. Do a live video, put it on your to-do list, because I did one today. I hadn't been doing live videos because I was not having the greatest week. The last couple of weeks I've been really struggling, and I wasn't showering like I should, and my hair is a mess, and I was like, there's no way I'm going on live video, because I don't mind going a little bit of a mess, but I was a real hot mess. But today I was driving to the Sharp Shopper to do my groceries, and I had my Christian music on, and I was like, you know what? I was fired up. And this is the other thing. When you're passionate, do everything with enthusiasm. When you're passionate about something and you could just explode because you're so passionate about it, that's the time to turn on your phone and do a video. And I don't care if your hair is washed or not. I mean, put it back in a ponytail and put a hat on if you have to, if it's that bad. You don't want to look too bad, but it doesn't matter. Like, I mean, when I say you don't want to look too bad, I'm talking about like the really greasy bad hair that sometimes I have. I'll put a hat on at that point. But the thing is that when we're passionate about something, to get on and talk about it, then people can connect with that enthusiasm and that passion. So I got on today and I talked about how I went from being someone who was questioning whether God existed to actually having passion and fire for God again, and to share that story after I had overcome. And that's something else I want to share with you. Share your mess. It's okay to be you. Vulnerability is key. We have this feeling like we are alone, that we're the only ones who have a mess. We're the only ones who are dealing with stuff, And the thing is that every other person is out there, but this is so key. Do not share your mess until you have overcome, or until you are in a good process of overcoming. And this means if you have a really bad morning and you wake up and you're grumpy, maybe you're fussing, you're getting on the kid's case for everything, and you have a fight with your husband. Well, you don't want to get on Facebook and say, oh, I just had the worst morning. I just yelled at my kids and I had a fight with my husband and I just feel like crap. You don't want to say that, but what you do want to do is you want to go ahead and go work out and go shower and get dressed and put on makeup, call your husband, tell him you're sorry, let your kids know how much you love them, and then get on and do a live video and say, you know what, I just want to share this with you just in case anyone else is going through this. But I had a really rough morning. I got in a fight with my husband. I just woke up. I felt off. And so I was cranky with my kids and I was a hot mess. So I knew that I had to turn that around. So I decided to go take a shower, or go work out, take a shower, get dressed, put on some makeup. So I felt good, and it changed everything for me. My whole day is better. So I just want to encourage you, if you're having a bad day, take some steps to make it better. Okay, so that's how you can take a mess and turn it into a message. I was able to take the fact that I was at a point where I questioned whether God was even a thing, a real thing. And to the point where I was passionate about being able to pray at our retreat this weekend, which is a miracle basically in my life. I was able to get on and do a video about that, but I couldn't do that until I had reached that point. So that's something to remember. Share your mess. Everybody has one, but at least have some sort of overcoming. Just remember, I am an overcomer. Every time you post on Facebook, I am an overcomer. And if your post does not say to you in your heart that you are an overcomer, then maybe ask your upline coach, or you can ask Kelly or me, or post in the team page and say, hey, I wanted to post this and this is really on my heart, but I'm really not sure if this is a great post. And we can all help each other. So know that you can use a team page for that. Anybody can post. If you have an aha moment, post in the team page. Everybody is sharing from their hearts. Everybody is a mom, and it's never stepping on someone's toes. So making sure that you post 2 to 3 times a day is important, but knowing who you are and what your favorite things are. So people who are coming in, as you friend people who are new and they have not met you in real life, you're going to have some people on your team eventually who you've never met in real life. Okay. So in order for that to happen though, people need to have that trust. And in order to have that trust, they have to be able to feel like they know you. So what you need to do is, they call it your 5 pillars. Write down 3 to 5, and I would say there's 5 areas in your life that really are strongly represent you. A good example is faith. Coach is going to be one of them, or fitness and exercise, Beachbody, the stuff that has to do with Beachbody coaching is going to be one. For me, a lot of times I've done like country, like I live in the country. I like to chop wood and do things. It can change over time, but I know Sarah Kroger, for her, ones would be like her chickens and her homesteading. It could be Kelly likes knitting, faith. Figure out 5 pillars, 5 things about your life, and family, obviously, kids, if you have kids, or if you don't, figure out the 5 things that represent who you are and post about those, a different thing out of those categories every day, 3 to 5 times a day. So if you're not posting on social media at all, then or once a week, then I want to encourage you to just try to do once a day. Focus on that first. Our goal is 3 to 5 times a day, but if you're not posting at all right now, then start with 1 a day if that's what it takes, because it's about progress, not perfection. And talk about those different things so that people feel when they go onto your page, like, oh, wow, this person loves God. They post this quote about from Toby Knack. That's really awesome. I love Toby Knack, or, oh, wow, look at that. She's working out, or wow, that's a really cool recipe. You know what I mean? They need to be able to go to your page and see that. Another thing to remember, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to share my screen for this one. And this one, I created this screen for the like pages, but you can actually apply this particular one to your regular page, and that is, what is your first impression? When people go to your social media page, you're going to friend somebody, or you're going to have a friend of yours recommend someone to go to one of your free groups or something. They're gonna friend you, and the first thing they're gonna do is click on your profile and say, who is this person? So ask yourself, what's your first impression? Now, you do not need, as a new coach, I would say, don't worry about having something this professional like the one that Kelly has right here, but doing something more simple using pickmonkey.com, or something that shows different parts of who you are. See, on here we have Kelly, we have her family, so you can tell she's a mom of 6, 7 now on the way, and she is in love with her husband. You can tell that from the picture, so you can easily create something on PickMonkey or Canva, pickmonkey.com or canva.com. And if you have any questions about that, reach out to your upline coach, reach out to me. We can at least give you some advice to get you started. It does not have to be perfect, but just make sure it's clean cut. And then when someone goes to your page, what's their first impression? Are they going to be seeing a bunch of shares where you're sharing everybody else's stuff? Or are they going to see, who's Rebecca Huff? Is she a mom? Like, she's a mom. She loves God. Like, what are the things that make her special? So when you share something, I'm going to go ahead and open up something here real quick. When you share something, or when you post something, ask yourself, what is the value that we're adding here? What's the point of this post, and why does it matter? Okay, how does it make you feel? Because we need to be careful not to just randomly post something. Eating a peanut butter sandwich, or making peanut butter and jelly for the kids. I actually posted that once. Making peanut butter and jelly for the kids. I think it was one of my very first posts. I thought, what am I supposed to post on here? Okay, I'm making peanut butter and jelly my kids for lunch. It's one of my very first Facebook posts ever when I first joined. But we need to have a purpose to what we're saying and breadcrumbing our story. So this is important. Write down the word breadcrumbing. Because in order to gain that trust, first of all, they have to see our face. They have to see those expressions. That's huge. But they have to come to know who we are. And they can't do that without some sort of sharing of our story. And you share bits and pieces. So I'm going to show you. I did some major breadcrumbing today. It's, for those of you who came on a little bit later, today is the anniversary of my husband's and my first date. So 18 years ago, I invited him to a Sadie's Hawkins dance at Franciscan University. And he said yes. He was my soccer coach. He said yes. And so I had a meal where my friend Stacy Dupuy and I invited 6 other couples, and we created a restaurant called San Valentino's. And it was really cool. So every year, my husband and I recreate San Valentino's and have this special meal at our special little personal restaurant. So I breadcrumbed part of my story so that people can get to know who I am. They know that I'm passionately in love with my husband, but they're going to hear part of our story. 18 years ago, Trent and I went on our first date. 18 years ago, my girlfriend and I cooked the most amazing dinner for our dates before the Sadie's Hawkins dance we had invited them to at university. Trent says I tricked him, made him think I cooked all the time, sucker, because people on Facebook know I don't like to cook, right? Seriously, though, that night I received my first roses from a boy, so I'm sharing that's my first boyfriend, my man, and little did I know that this man, my former soccer coach, would become my first boyfriend and the one I joined hands with for life. Every year we reopen that restaurant from so many years ago, the one my friend and I created, San Valentino's, with the exception of a couple rough years, so I'm explaining that we had some hard times in our pregnancy, in our marriage. A couple rough years in pregnancies, this is our tradition. February 13th is our day. It's when we go back and we thank God for bringing us together. How did I get so blessed? I ask myself this and thank God for every day for giving me this gift. Again, going back to the gift of my marriage. We've had times where things looked pretty bleak, but working through the hard times just makes the good times even that much better. Don't forget that. No one lives happily ever after. We choose love. We decide to love, and God blesses that. So sharing bits and pieces of your story makes people feel, did you feel like maybe you got to know a little bit about me right there? You know, you all have that. You have these tiny little stories from throughout your life. And when you share and you feel like you can share a piece of that, do it. You know, I did it again earlier because my husband, oh my gosh, he, while I was at retreat, sewed me, created this penguin's blanket. That is all sewed and little pieces that he sewed on there to make this for me. So I did another story that talked about what true love looks like. You know, so sharing those pieces of ourselves, vulnerability can be really hard at first. I think for all of us, that's one of the hardest steps to take because we're afraid of what people are going to think when we get real. But I will tell you, for myself, who was terrified of showing the real me, I was fake all over the place, or just showing the real highlights is what I did. It was scary to be vulnerable. And I know the same was for Kelly, because Kelly and I have been through a lot of this together. We have been so, oh my gosh, I just posted this real vulnerable post. Can you please go in and like it? You know, we've all been there. But I'm telling you, there's a reason why we're the Fearless Freedom Family. We have to let go of our fear to do things like become vulnerable. And when we become vulnerable and share our hearts as we overcome, there's a huge freedom in that. We become free. I used to care what everybody thought about me. I was terrified to be real on social media. Guess what? I don't care anymore. I mean, a little bit. Like someone says something hurtful, it'll make me mad for a little bit, or I'll be upset, but I get over it like that. So, but that takes practice, and it takes being vulnerable. And if you're not sure about something, it takes posting on the team page, or writing your upline coach, or writing Kelly, or writing me, or writing another friend who's a coach and saying, I really want to share this piece of my heart. I'm super nervous about it. Can you please give me feedback? Because in the end, what you're doing, even if you never become the rock star coach, if that's what you want, we are showing other women that they are not alone. Because I guarantee you, no matter how hard your story is, there is someone out there who has probably had it worse. Or there's someone out there who has not had it as bad, and they just need someone to say, hey, I've been through this and I've overcome. Let me take your hand and walk you through it. That's the most powerful thing that we can do as women. That's the most powerful thing we can do as followers of Christ. And I don't know if everyone on here is Christian, but I know a lot of our team is. But to be able to offer our hand, to be the hands and feet of God on this earth, that is our calling. And we can't do that if we're so busy walling up that we're not letting anybody in. So there's so many layers to social media. We have 2 minutes. Any questions before we hop off? This is just to give you a little bit of an overview. No? Is that a lot to soak in for the first one? Okay. Well,
I'll say something.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll say something. I really do, for me, even though I've been doing this for a while, I think it's really important. I like the 5 pillars. I really haven't thought about the 5. I'm sure I've heard it before, but I really have not thought about the 5 pillars a lot. But like, we all have different pillars. Like, we all have different things that are important to us that make up our life and make up who we are. And it's just kind of digging in and figuring out what those are.
Yeah.
And then figuring out, like, I really also think it's important for everybody to remember, like, ask yourself what it is the value of the post. Like, I'm going to have to write that down and put that up in my office, because I think that's key. Like, what's the value?
Yeah. And we're going to have times where we fail and we're not perfect at it, and that's fine. I mean, I think I have bad days where I end up throwing a post up there, which is exactly what I tell everybody else not to do. We're all going to have moments. But if we work and continue working at being better, then over time, even if we have moments, people come to know who we are, and they trust that. They trust our brand, and our brand really is, who are you really underneath? Share it. That's your brand. Who are you really? Anyway, we've got a team call to hop on to. I'm going to do, Rebecca, message me about getting your social media audit in, please. As we move forward, once you guys get started, if you need some help doing a specific social media audit, you may reach out to me. That's what I'm here for. I am passionate about doing that for you. So take it one step at a time, all right? Anyway, let's hop onto the team call real quick. We got to hop off of here and then hop on there. And yeah, see you over there. I hope everybody's headed over there. Thanks for hopping on.